Good morning, my King family. How's everybody today? I hope you are well. I am fine. Hit my pick yesterday, and we are loaded today. I've added some, so if you got and you bought Thursday or Friday the college, I have added some last night. Just a second. All right. So I stayed away from Kansas City, and I don't buy the bullshit rivalry because Oakland's so bad. They made Aiden O'Connell look good. I don't see Kansas City's defense being as good as it was last year's. Now, being on Prime, I didn't watch the game because I'm not going to get Prime out of spite. KC wins 19-17. They're laying how many points? They're laying 12 and a half, 13. They only scored 19 in the game. They gave up 17 to Aiden O'Connell. The league's getting extremely difficult. I think it's the offensive systems and the defensive systems. I think they let them catch way too many passes. They don't blitz enough. And the quarterbacks, they make Caleb look good. They make O'Connell look good. I mean, Jesus, it's just pathetic. These are not good quarterbacks, but it's the scheme. It's these little 5-yard outs. It's the little wide receiver screens. So it's Brock Bowers had a monster day again. He's the offensive player of the year, but they'll give it to, I don't know. I guess Daniels probably, but the best player is Brock Bowers, as I said back and when they drafted. San Diego should have had Brock Bowers. What the fuck were they thinking? Yeah, they drafted a guard from Notre Dame who has been hurt the whole year. Yeah, that was a really good draft. Even if the guy wasn't hurt, you could have had Brock Bowers comes along every 10 years. All right. Let's go through the scores in college. What a game, Georgia Tech. I love Georgia Tech in the game, but I didn't play it. I know I'm an idiot, but this whole overtime thing is just so stupid. So what you've done is you've gone from, the ball to 25 to the 20, and then just keep going and trying to score to now these 2-point conversions are just one play drives. Oh yeah, you get the ball to 2, score. That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life. So they each get one play. And from the 2, which is the hardest place to score, again, whoever designed this has his head way up his ass. Gregor John, good morning. Yeah, well, I told you Brock Bowers, he's the man. Unfortunately, he's on Oakland. Well, that's what you're dealing with O'Connell. But yeah, they should have. If John Madden was the coach, they would have won. Again, they got a terrible coach, terrible quarterback, and they still almost beat KC. KC, it's not that they're not that good. They've had a lot of injuries, which you must respect. They did get Checo back. Watching the highlights, they do all this passing, but they don't do all this scoring. They had to settle for a lot of field goals. You must run from inside the 10. You cannot throw because there's no room. The out of bounds, the end zone. So you have to run the ball in. And I thought they would have known that. All right, let's go to the scores of yesterday. I had a good day. I had one pick. It was Texas State and South Alabama. I've been on Texas State the last few weeks. I went over 61, so it was over 55, and they played an 80-point game. Let's go. Let's see. We had Colorado winning 52-0. Oh, I already got that. That's Friday. All right, let's go to Saturday. or no, let's go to Friday. Friday starts with Ole Miss. So Ole Miss 26-14 over Old Mississippi State. I liked it under, but I didn't play the game. I had no idea. I didn't know what Mississippi State would do. Hey, Todd. Well, I actually like Georgia Tech in the game, and it really wasn't under. It's just Georgia Tech's that strong offensively with King, and that's why I like King when he's the quarterback. They don't lose. They beat Miami. They should have won the game. They were up 17 late. So I don't know. Their defense is still pretty strong, Georgia's. But when you play a team like Georgia Tech, they're going to score. They got a great coach, great quarterback. That's what we look for. And Georgia, they're not running. The runners are all hurt. So hopefully by the playoffs, the runners will be better. And then the receivers are a little bit young. The quarterbacks I like. Beck's fine. The coach is great. I wouldn't call them an over. In 8 overtimes, I wouldn't say they're an over team. But they're not the under team we saw. And then here's where my skull comes in. We find the other team. The under team is now whom? Who's got the low? Basically the under team is Miami of Ohio with the 17 defense in conference. Iowa, Nebraska, those are under teams. So you've got to just check the defense. Now, Georgia's defense is it's an 18. Now it's probably a 20. But when we were locking them under, they were like a 7. And that's what you're looking for. That's where the numbers, why we do the numbers, because that sticks out. So let's quickly go through. So 26-14, Mississippi is a strong defense. They held Old Mississippi State to 14, and they only scored 26. Old Miss is not what they were. They started playing these shit teams, put up 60 points. You go, oh, wow, they're explosive. In conference, they weren't explosive at all. Neither was Tennessee. So 26-14. I don't know who's in the playoff at this point or what the fuck's going on. Colorado State 42-37. I loved Utah State in this game. Utah State had a big lead. Colorado State comes back. They score late on an interception. Colorado State's up 12. I'm getting 11. And then Utah State scores with 7 seconds left, and it's 42-37. So if you just watch the score, you go, oh, yeah, I won. Yeah, it was, but you should have won easily. But Utah State, that's their problem. They have a weak defense. So Utah State's an over team. Texas State's an over team, as we'll get to. And that's what you look for, is the team that scores a lot and the team that doesn't have a defense. Let's see. Sam Houston 20-18 over Liberty. I like Sam Houston there. A good, strong dog at home. Liberty's not anything special. Sam Houston, I thought would win the game. All right, here's my Texas State, 45-38. I go over. So I hit the Southern Miss game. They win by 50. Then I lose with them against Georgia State, but I notice it was an 80-point game. Here you got South Alabama, pretty good offense, Major Applewhite, Texas State they actually have a 23 defense, but I don't know who that's against. And I see 61, not 71, so I'm excited. I go over 55, 45-38. They play an 83, and I only need 55. At half, I think it was 28-21. It was already 49. I needed 1 touchdown in the second half, which I knew I'd get. Hey, Alex, good morning. So Texas State was my only play yesterday. San Jose State, 34-31. Stanford's getting a little bit better. San Jose State's not great, about what I expect. Stanford with the 33 defense, so that's what you got with San Jose State. But I didn't play that one. Iowa, 13-10. That's what I thought it would be an under, but the under was 39, so it was really hard to play it. But that's what you expect Iowa, Nebraska to do. A 17 defense and a 20. And Nebraska held Ohio State to 20 points. So, you figured it would be low scoring. Game of the day, Georgia 44, Georgia Tech 42. Georgia Tech had the game won. They were up 17-0. I love their coach. King's great quarterback. I don't know. The pros are looking for quarterbacks. You got Kings. You got the guy on Texas State, McLeod, looks outstanding. You got all over the place. There's good. Who else was I looking at? I don't love Jackson Dart. Utah State's quarterback's pretty good. I mean, Georgia and Georgia Tech have good quarterbacks. And anyway, and then Utah comes up. They were up 28-7. UCF must have scored with 5 seconds left, 28-14 of 42. The total was 46.5. And I had no idea what to do there. UCF, I did not like laying 10. Something about Utah, you can't make them a dog. And they played BYU tough, and they win the game easily. I mean, it was 28-7. I would say UCF score with less than a minute left. So I only played the one game, Texas State over, and it was over by halftime. And that's what I love with these overs. People don't like totals. They just like, I was getting my car, the oil change yesterday, and talking to one of the finance manager, he bets. He doesn't really like totals. And I said, well, you're missing half the action if you don't play totals. It's a very good way to bet, especially if you know the team, which most people don't. They can't think. They can't get into my mind and think it, which is why I try to teach you guys. They can't think about how strong the over-under plays are, but you need to know the teams, which is why we grade the teams. So you got Z teams, we're betting against them. You got overs, Texas State, Utah State. I got an over today. I got a couple overs today's. But you got to know when to play the over, when to play the under, when to stay away, and then when to play the team or the dog. So you're going through 4 or 5 iterations to figure out who do I want to bet? Which way do I want to bet the game? So like Georgia Tech, I didn't like Georgia laying 18.5. His Kings playing. I wasn't sure. As soon as he was playing, I knew they were going to cover 24 points. That was easy because Georgia's not really killing everybody. And Georgia Tech, I love the coach. It's just the whole offense. They get guys open. I love they run these trick plays on Georgia where they fake going one way and reverse it the other, and they walk into the end zone. I don't agree with this overtime of 2-point conversions because it's basically one play. You got the ball at the 2. It's basically one play. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. What the fuck is that? Who thought of that, and who agreed to it? Oh, well, we don't want long overtimes. So why do you have overtimes? There's nothing wrong with the tie. This was perfectly thing, or play it like the NFL kickoff. It's sudden death overtime. That's how it should be. Not this, oh, well, we got to be fair and let both teams have the ball. No, they're playing defense. If you want the ball, play defense. That's it. So I don't like this both teams and being fair shit. I'm a capitalist. I'm an Austrian. We don't believe in being fair. We believe in being right. All right, let's go through the lines. We got, let me go to the other one. All right, let's start. We got the big noon games. We've got we got a little action on Baylor. Baylor's -1, Kansas is -1.5. I don't understand it. Where is it? So we'll call them both -1 then. So you can go either way. Over under 61.5. Kansas Baylor. Kansas has been on fire. Neal, what a great running back. It should be him and Gentry 1-2 in the draft, but they won't draft running backs that high. This is why all these teams fire their coaches, and half these teams are like under 500 because they're fucking idiots. Anybody that stays with Daniel Jones and lets Barkley go, how intelligent is that team, the Giants? You got me, but I don't know what the fuck they're doing. The Bears, they can't draft a quarterback. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They fire their offensive coordinator. Oh, then they find out it was really the head coach. And then they let the offensive coordinator be the head coach. What is that? He wasn't even an offensive coordinator before. Well, Caleb likes him. Oh, well, then let's, of course, make him. Why don't we make him the president of the Bears? Unbelievable. All right. So, again, another Daniels for Kansas. Baylor's got Sawyer, I think, or Stevenson, something like that. Two good quarterbacks. But anyway, Neal, what a running back on Kansas. He lit up Colorado, who has a very good defense. Gentry had 250 yards yesterday, I believe, for Boise. The kid from Iowa, I got to look at the box score there. But you got three outstanding running backs. And as you can see, all the good teams, that's how they're winning. You got the good running backs. That's what Buffalo always has lacked. That's why they don't win playoff games. They don't have the running back. Josh Allen wants to run. He's the quarterback, but he doesn't understand it. All right. Texas Tech 64.5 to West Virginia. We got Duke. I've been debating this game. Duke 3.5, 53.5. Haven't played it, but man, you gotta like Duke. Wake Forest terrible. But again, I don't like Duke as the favorite here. Right? If Duke was the dog, it'd be already played heavily, but I just don't. They'll probably win the game because they're well coached. Good. Murphy's a good quarterback and a good defense, and Wake sucks. So Duke should win, but I and this is not a rivalry game. Duke, North Carolina is, as I've said. Lou Monroe, Lou Lafayette. Lou Lafayette, much the better team, is 10, 48.5. Where is it? Lou Lafayette. Okay, so 9.5, 40. Okay. Lafayette's the 18, 22 defense. Lou Monroe an 18, 28. But it's a rivalry. Lou Lafayette should win the game. But again, they got 415 yards and Lou Monroe 272. I'd be shocked if Lou Lafayette doesn't win, but I don't know about the late 9.5. A little conservative on that. Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville 49.5 to Kentucky. If I can find it. 3.5, 48, 48.5. Louisville's playing good. Kentucky's not bad. They did beat Mississippi. Their quarterback's not that good, but they have a really killer defense, as does Louisville. Louisville's a B team with the 24 defense, and I love their quarterback, Tyler Shaw from Texas Tech, who's now, I love the backup starts somewhere else. Kentucky, an under team with the 20 defense. This game should be tight, I would think. At Kentucky, they're not going to get blown out at home. And it's senior day. So don't forget that. It's senior day. So all the teams at home, it's the guy's last game. Everybody cries and, oh, my God, my last game. Okay, whatever. Army, 6.5, 53 to UTSA. Another explosive team, UTSA, an over 31 defense. Army, an A team with the 14 defense until they ran into Notre Dame. It was a 10 defense. 6.5, 53. So this is down from 7.5 and down from 55. I don't see any injuries in the game. And Army, how are they going to react after Notre Dame kicked their ass? UTSA very so we've got the quarterback. Look out here. Now, surprisingly, Army, where you might think it's an under, has been very explosive. So I look for them to score, and then UTSA should score. But UTSA should have taken notes from Notre Dame, but it was mostly running the ball up the middle, and the guys would go for 50-yard touchdowns and a strong Notre Dame defense. So UTSA doesn't have the strong defense, and this is where we understand it. Now, do we go over with Army and UTSA. Do we take UTSA in the points? That's what I'm struggling with. Because UTSA has been on fire. They've been scoring 30, 40 a game. Army, you think's this great team, and then they play Notre Dame, go up 59. You're like, well, maybe their defense isn't as strong. So that's what leads to doubt is you saw them against a good team. And Notre Dame's not a great team, but a good team. And you're like, So that's the debate. Dude, I've been having that debate lately in a lot of games. Do I take the dog or do I take the points? Where both are pretty good plays, I think. Michigan, Ohio State. I did play this. You Fires. I did play this yesterday. I thought about it, and it's cold here. So Michigan is 19 and a half. Ohio State, the total of 42. And Michigan, an under team with the 21 defense and no quarterback, but it's the game. And Ohio State, an A team with a 10 defense. Ohio State's choked the last 3 years in this game. Ryan Day can't beat them. Michigan without an offense, without a quarterback, will probably try to run the ball, and they won't do that very well. But Ohio State, I don't know. They've been I think both defenses will take over this game. Do I want Michigan in 25 and a half? I probably should because I know the dog in this game is the play. Even though their quarterback sucks and they have no offense, I just don't know. I just don't feel Ohio State minus 13 and a half, 14, where they should blow them out. I just feel that this game's going to be close. I don't know. It's my gut feeling because this game's always close. Very rarely blowouts. They do happen. But Michigan has the defense. So this takes me to Michigan, Indiana, which was they beat Indiana 120 to 15. And I'm going, yeah, that's probably what Michigan didn't have a quarterback then. Indiana's same type of team as Ohio State. Then I got Ohio State and Nebraska, 20 to 17. Ohio State, Penn State, 20 to 13. So I'm going, well, they're not blowing out these, and Nebraska's not even that. They're okay. So they have trouble with strong defensive teams, Ohio State. And we got a strong defensive team here. Plus, it's a war. So I don't see Ohio State winning 42-0 as much as I want Ohio State to win 42-0. I don't get it. I think the spread's too high. If I could get under 10, I would probably play Ohio State, but I'm not laying 2 touchdowns. And the hell if I'm taking 25 against Ohio State. Even the Indiana game last week, Ohio State really won 17-15. They had a punt return, and Indiana, the punter, dropped the snap, and with a minute left in the half, and they, so that's 2 touchdowns they got were bullshit. So they scored 31. That takes them down to 17. So they basically played a 17-15 game with Indiana. And I don't count the last touchdown because that was really, because of an onside kick. So they really beat Indiana 17-15. And so, again, in a big game, they're not scoring. They're not winning by a lot. So don't really like Ohio State to blow out Michigan as much as they had blood in their eyes last year and lost. And they've lost 3 in a row, and now it's in their heads. I don't know if they can actually beat them, but we'll see. Morning, G. How are you? So I did add a few picks, G, Alex, that we got. So we'll see. So check the site, and I'll be adding probably a few pro games tomorrow. I stayed away from KC. I just don't like to lay a lot of points, and they're a lousy home favorite, and they didn't cover, and that's what you get with Kansas City. But see, they're not really a blowout team. So when they're favored by 13, 14 points, why? They're not, the Lions I kind of get when they're healthy, they're winning by 30 points. But they're probably the only team that really is going to blow you out. Maybe Green Bay and Minnesota, but that's it. Just because KC has Mahomes and they don't. I don't think they've had a blowout all year. That's just not their style. They get the lead, they sit on it, they run, they play decent defense. But they don't win by 20 points. No, they don't do that. Bobby Bo, what's going on? I brought you up at work, Bobby Bo. I'll get into that story in a minute. Tennessee 10-46.5 against Vandy. Always like Vandy as a dog. Daggio Pavio. There's a quarterback that should be in the first round, first 10. Not like Daniel Jones or Mac Jones or McDonald's or any of these idiots. Let's see, Tennessee, you can get an 11 with Vandy. So 11 and 46. The total's down, which doesn't surprise me. Tennessee, really 13 defense. Here's an under team, right? You're saying Georgia's now an over. Tennessee's really the under team. No quarterback, killer defense, sort of like Old Mississippi. They got a very strong defense. You want defensive ends. There's 2 on Old Miss and there's 2 on Tennessee that you can draft. Sampson, the running back on Tennessee's another first rounder with Gentry, with the Iowa kid, with the Kansas kid. I mean, if you know what you're doing, it's easy. Maybe I should be a GM because these guys clearly don't know how to get a team together. So again, I think it's at Vandy. Vandy, I think, is a live dog in this game. Illinois Northwestern. What about Georgia last night? Georgia Tech should have won the game. What about Georgia? I love Haynes King, man. That guy, superstar. Crazy how they went to 8 turnovers with Tech. Well, because half of them were just 2-point plays. And you know how hard it is to get 2-point conversions. That showed you. They each had 4. I think they converted 1. I mean, that's the problem with the 2-point conversions. Everybody, go for 2. We'll go for 2. It's not easy to go for 2, especially when the team knows you're going for 2. So Georgia, I don't know. They're not my Georgia anymore. I don't know what happened to their defense. Their offense is okay. They have good talent. I think they need a new defensive coordinator again. And the running backs are all hurt. So when you get the running backs back, I think that'll help Georgia. NC versus NC State over 53 seems low. The only problem with that is they fired Mac Brown, the North Carolina coach. Otherwise, I'd agree with you. So I don't know. I assume their offensive coordinator stayed, and I don't know who's the head coach. So that's the only thing. Otherwise, it's North Carolina is an over team. What do I got there? Yeah, they're both over teams with 30 defenses, so it should be over. But again, you got Mac Brown got fired, so what effect does that have? That's the only intangible. Illinois 8-44 to Northwestern. Illinois is a B team, 21 defense. Northwestern and under with the 25. Again, it's a rivalry game. On superficial, Illinois is the better team, but it's at Northwestern, and it's a rivalry game. UConn 10-49.5 to Mass. UConn's actually a B team, 22 defense, and Mass the Z team with the 35 defense. But it's at Mass. I don't know. Sometimes they play good. You can't figure. Anytime you bet against them, they play good. North Texas is 11-63 to Temple. North Texas. Now here's what I was talking about before. Here's the over team, like Texas State. 36 defense playing Temple, a Z team with a 37 defense. Temple scores 15 a game but gives up 37, where North Texas scores 45 a game and gives up 36. So the question becomes, do I go over? Can Temple – you're going to get any help from Temple in the over? I don't know. But if you don't, then you go with North Texas. So that's really the ploy here is I know I got this high-scoring team, but if Temple doesn't keep up, it'll be 42-0. I don't get my over. It's sort of like Colorado yesterday. I was afraid Oklahoma State wouldn't do shit, and they didn't do shit. They've been playing kind of weak, and they win 52-0. So laying 10, you win. But if you played the over, which was 65, you lose. And it was all I could to not play the over in that game, because normally I love the over in the Big 12, but I laid away, but I didn't like the 10. I didn't know if Oklahoma State would show up, and Ollie Gordon didn't show up. I'll get your text in a second. Clemson 2.5, 49 to South Carolina. This game's dead even. This is A against A, and I think you know what to do, A against A. Western Michigan 6.5, 55.5 to Eastern Michigan. Where is this game? Both are over teams. Western at 33 defense, Eastern at 28. Now here the over is 55.5. Now, living in Michigan, it is cold here today. It snowed last night, but it's not snowing now. I don't think snow will be a factor. I'm not sure about the wind, and it is very, very cold. And it probably will affect Michigan, Ohio State also. But so it keeps you from going over, although they'll probably get over anyway because of the weather now. Very cold, and I don't know if it's windy out. I just stepped outside. I didn't, and this game is in Western Michigan, which is more middle of the state. It's about 2 hours away from me. Bobby, yeah, I didn't think going into the season that Texas would be the number one team. They're not. They didn't. They played Georgia, got their ass kicked. They beat Michigan, and then they, who they lose to? They lost to Vanderbilt. No, Vanderbilt 30-27. They lost to Georgia, but Texas isn't all that. I mean, they just had an easy. That's the problem. Alabama had to play Ole Miss and Tennessee and Georgia. That's the big difference, right? And Oklahoma, who is nothing, and I still can't believe we lost Oklahoma. Alex Mack is still there. He got fired. So what? He's fired end of the season? If that's the case, NC will be playing hard for Mack, and well, maybe, I don't know. He got fired. So if that's the case, then bet North Carolina. They're laying 3.5. That's probably the better bet. If it's his last game, I would probably take North Carolina to win. They're not going to lose to NC State. Again, Grayson McCall has been injured all year for NC State. So North Carolina, good running back, another good running back, and decent quarterback's okay. NC State with a 30 defense, North Carolina 27. Yeah, I would say if they're playing if you play for the coach's last game, I remember we had a big lock on Urban Meyer's last game in the Rose Bowl where Ohio State was playing, I think, Washington or USC, and they were laying like 5 or 6 or 7, and that was a huge lock, big lock. Ohio State, they got up like 28-0 and then won 28-21. It was like Washington, but we covered because I think we were laying 2 or 3, and it was a huge lock. But yeah, I mean, you want to play the coach's last game, but then you do question, why did he get fired? And will they play for him or will they not play for him? So we'll see. Yeah, Mac does suck. The only reason he wanted Texas is he had whatchamacallit. So Mac Brown didn't do shit. He just the quarterback. God, I can't believe I can't think of his name. The big guy who sucked in the pros. Anyway, you put a guy 6'6" in as quarterback. Yeah, good job, coach. Yeah, also Urban last game coaching at Florida when they won his underdog. Well, no, I'm talking about his last game at Ohio State. In the Rose Bowl they won. So, yeah. No. Urban was in the Rose Bowl against Washington, I believe. That was his last game at Ohio State. You drinking already, Bobby? All right. Georgia State won 54.5 to Coastal Carolina. I got to find it. Georgia State. There it is. I got both teams favored by 1 and 55. Coastal Carolina is an over team with the 31 defense. Georgia State. Now, Georgia State played an 80-point game with Texas State last week. My Texas State over team. So here's Georgia State. And again, this seems like a low total of 55. This game should hit 80, I would imagine. Troy and Southern Miss. I am not playing against Southern Miss this week. I probably should. Troy 17.5, 49. I just don't like. They're an E team with the 29 defense, and Southern Miss is terrible. A Z team. They would lose to most of the Division II teams and a lot of the high school teams. 36 defense. They get 200 yards of offense, but Troy doesn't score that much. However, we're only laying 11, so Troy should probably beat them by in the 20s, but not like Texas State beat them 53-3. So I'm a little bit concerned with Troy scoring enough. And their defense sucks. So I'm not playing against Southern Miss this week. I should, but I'm not because I don't like the offense of Troy. South Florida, 5.5, 54 to Rice. South Florida an over team, 28 defense, and Rice an under team, 25 defense. Rice has been getting better, and Kurt Warner's kids on Rice. South Florida probably better at home. I could see Rice getting the upset here, so I'm leaving it alone. I don't like the road favorites too much, like South Florida, so I'll leave it alone. Florida International, 9:51 to Middle Tennessee. Where are you, Florida International? Florida Atlantic. Here it is. Florida International was 8, let's call it 8.5, and 52 is down to 50. Middle Tennessee is Z team with the 34, just like Southern Miss. Florida International is an E team, just like Troy. The difference is, I don't know what the difference is, the 26 defense. This is very compatible. I guess the difference is Florida International is only laying 8. All you got to do is lay 2 against Middle Tennessee State, who's a Z team. So I would probably play them over Troy, even though it's Southern Miss. But Middle Tennessee's not, they're pretty shitty too. Pitt and BC, BC 4 and 50.5 to Pitt. This line really hasn't moved. Went from 49 to 50. We got Pitt and over team, although with the question mark because they haven't been over the last couple of weeks. They've been not scoring. 26 defense. BC's got their backup in who looked pretty good against, I think it was Cal. They were playing, and the backup looked pretty good. So they're a B team, 24 defense. It's at BC. I know it's a hard game to go with. Pitt's not that bad, so I got better fish to fry. I do have 5 locks today, so I don't want to really mess around with that game. Old D, 4.5, 58.5. Old D is an E team, pretty good team, 27 defense. Arkansas State's a W, 32 defense, but they're still in the running to win the division. I don't know how, but that's where they are. So we have to see that. So basically, they're in the running. So hard to play Ark State. Old D always seems to win these games, but they don't really have a great record. There's certain teams they beat well and certain they don't, but I can't take Ark State. I can't take them. Cal and SMU, this is a very good game. SMU 13-55. Cal is a very good team. If I can find them. Okay. SMU, so what are they? 13 and down to 56 from 57. SMU needs the game for the playoff as well as the win. Cal's a good team, but this is not a bad travel. This is going from San Francisco to Dallas, so not not playing Pittsburgh or West Virginia. SMU A team, 21 defense. Cal a B with the 20. I don't know. I don't like SMU laying 7 here. I think Cal's too good of a team. Cal's almost a live dog here, but I don't want to fuck with SMU, especially they need the game. Charlotte 2.5 and 60.5 to UAB. I'm really struggling why Charlotte's favored in this game. I do like UAB. UAB is an over team with the 34 defense. Charlotte's a Z team with the 35, and they're fucking favored. I think UAB definitely can stay with them and probably win the game, but obviously Charlotte doesn't have an offense, and UAB's an over team. So this is a beautiful setup. So UAB is a very live dog here. Miami, Syracuse. Miami must win the game, but the game's at Syracuse. Miami is 11 and 67. Miami's the A team, probably more of an over team. I don't buy their 22 defense. Syracuse, very explosive. As we saw against UNLV, who has a really good defense. The game's at Syracuse. They are an over team with the 28 defense. Miami gets 525 yards of offense. Syracuse 450. Being at Syracuse, this will be a very live dog and should be a very high-scoring game. Syracuse can light it up. And Miami's not, this is not Jimmy Johnson's Miami team. 22 defense, I don't buy. Georgia Tech just laid it to them and won, I think, 35-23 or something. I love the Georgia Tech team. So, Miami's not all that. I think this will be an 80-point game, at least. Arizona State, 8.5, 53.5 to Arizona. This is a big revenge game. Arizona killed them last year. Arizona State sucked. Bring in Scatterbrew, bring in a new quarterback, bring in a good coach, bring in some defense. All of a sudden, Arizona State's the A team, 22 defense. Arizona's an E team with the 30. Their coach left. Fajita's not been the same. They did beat Houston as their only win. Big rivalry game. Again, but Arizona's new coach doesn't know what to do with Fajita, and Arizona State's got Scatterbrew in that. And Arizona State needs to win to have a chance to get to the playoff in the Big 12, especially now that Colorado win. So Arizona State must win this game. It's a revenge game. They've got much the better team, much the better defense. Go blue. Beat Navy. UCLA, 7.5, 46.5. Down from 8.5. Fresno State's been struggling, even with Mikey Keene. They're both E teams, both 26 defenses, both 340 yards of offense. UCLA played USC 19-13. I bet the game over. 26 defense. It's not great. This will be a close game. UCLA is not the type that's going to blow out anybody. Mikey Keene. He did beat UCLA. I think it was 2 years. No, I think it was Carr, Derek Carr, the kid on New Orleans. He had it was Jake Hayner. He had a big game against UCLA. Won it at the end. That guy's a winner. Hopefully, New Orleans will start playing him more. But they were down. He drove them down the field with like 30 seconds left. Scored a touchdown on the last play to win it. That's where I like Hayner from. Tulsa, 157 to Florida Atlantic. This game, Florida Atlantic is 2, but Tulsa's -1.5. I don't know what the fuck is that. So one sports book has them. That smells like government interference there. Both teams are W. Florida Atlantic, 31 defense. Tulsa, 40. I have no fucking idea. Over under 57. Neither team scores, but they both have no defense. So this is not a good matchup. Notre Dame, 7. There's a 6.5 on FanDuel. There's a 7.5, so we'll call it 7. That's what I got it at. And the total is up to 53 now, which I don't understand that. Somebody has to explain that to me. Notre Dame, an A team, absolutely demolished Army, who's a very good team with their 10 defense, and they put up 50 on them. A lot of power running. USC, B team, 21 defense. I like Maivia, the quarterback from Vegas. Should be a really good game. Notre Dame needs this for the playoff and everything else. USC has no chance in the Big Ten. It's Oregon, Ohio State, and Indiana and I guess Penn State for the Big Ten. So USC had the big emotional game with UCLA. Now they get Notre Dame, who's got a killer defense, 11 defense. So Notre Dame is your defense, is your Georgia, right? The 11 defense. Vince Young. Yeah, thanks, Alex. That's I couldn't think of his name, but I could see. It's funny, I can see the guys. I can't think of their names sometimes. What are you talking about, Bobby? Oh, the Florida last game. Oh, yeah, it might have been Penn State. I don't know. I was talking to Ohio State was in the Rose Bowl. Well, he probably won. No, he won all three of his. He had a last game at Bowling Green. He had a last game at Utah where they went undefeated and won every game by that. I had a big bet on when they played Pitt in the whatever bowl game, and it was Urban's last game. He wins it at Florida, wins it at Ohio. Oh wait, but he didn't win it at Jacksonville. Well, maybe he did win his last game at Jacksonville. I guess the Layers love playing for Urban. Yeah, well, he seems to be a good coach, and he wins, and they go there to win. It's too bad he's not there anymore. Bobby, yes, Mississippi State has turned into a complete joke. They need Dak. Dak. Look at how good the Cowboys are without him, right? Did I tell you? Cooper Rush comes in, he beats Washington, which Dak's never would have done, and then he beats the Giants, and he looks really good doing it. Cooper Rush should have been the quarterback, as I stated. He's much better than Dak, and without Dak, watch Dallas run the table with Cooper Rush. Hey T1, check my email. Oh, you just sent some money. Okay. I was waiting for you to come in because all these locks today. So you're taking college. Okay, let me send you. Now, I wrote out the passwords just to be even easier. All right, Taiwan, you got it. Thank you very much. All right, where are we at? All right, so Penn State, 25-50 to Maryland. I think Penn State kills them. They have to win to have any hope, but this game's at 3:30, so Ohio State will be done. Indiana won't be, and Oregon won't be. But Oregon won't matter because they beat Ohio State. So if Penn State only has one loss in the conference, if Ohio State loses, Penn State will have to win to get in, and Indiana has one loss to Ohio State, and they play Purdue. They're not losing to Purdue today. So look for Penn State. I guess if Ohio State wins, Penn State, I don't know. Again, it's senior day, so I assume they'll blow out Maryland, who really sucks. Total of 50 might be doable, but Penn State with a pretty good they got a 14 defense. I wouldn't mess around with an over here too much. Ella fucking Bama and Auburn. What do we do with this game, Bobby? Ella fucking Bama, 10.5, 52.5. Lost to Oklahoma. They scored 3 points on Oklahoma. I have no fucking idea. I love the boar, but now this shows you how good Penix is. Because with Penix, he wins that game, right? So with Washington, he goes to Oregon twice and wins on the road and beats Texas. Same coach, but he had Penix. Okay, that's how good Penix is. Here he's got Milrose, goes to Oklahoma. Everybody's beating Oklahoma. Tennessee beat him. Mississippi, Georgia beat him. I think Georgia played him. And you get, well, Texas beat him too. And Alabama comes and gets totally shut out. 27-3. Now, there's two choices here. Alabama gets really pissed off and plays a really good game. I don't know if they're still eligible for the playoff. Ole Miss won yesterday. Georgia, I think. Georgia's in the SEC championship game, so I assume it's against whoever wins the Texas A&M game, because Texas has one loss. Alabama's got three. So I don't think Alabama is definitely not in the SEC championship game, and then it becomes, I can't see them in the playoff. I don't, and it gets tangly because Alabama beat Georgia. However, Alabama got their ass kicked to Oklahoma, and my Vanderbilt team beat Alabama. So there you go. They're not very good. Milrose seems to be getting worse as the more we see him, the worse he gets. Auburn, no offense, pretty good defense. Auburn, Auburn a B team with a 20 defense. Alabama an A team, and I very question the 17 defense. You gave up 27 to Oklahoma. You don't have a 17 defense. They're at home, big rivalry game, 10.5. Do I go total 52.5? Probably an under, because Auburn can't score but has a good defense. And Alabama, I don't know. They should be embarrassed, and they should play a good, but they got nothing to play for. Really are out of it, right? With Georgia's win and Ole Miss's win, I don't see Alabama still having a chance to make the playoffs. So I think they all needed to lose for Alabama. So anyway, and then you got Texas and Texas A&M. Somebody's going to win. You got a 1-loss Texas and a 2-loss A&M, so Alabama can't jump both of those. I don't know. I mean, my logic is Alabama should be pissed off for getting embarrassed to Oklahoma, a team that sucks. You didn't lose to like a really good Oklahoma team, Barry Switzer and J.C. Watts and those guys. You lost to a shit Oklahoma team, letting the quarterback run all over you. Now, Auburn does not have a running quarterback. They don't really have. Peyton Thorne sucks. Milrose, he can't pass. All he does is run. It was a fluke they beat Georgia on that miracle catch, and the Georgia guy fucked up, and the guy ran for a touchdown in the last minute of the game. So Georgia should have beaten him. I don't know. I think the only way you can play this game is under, and then I don't have any faith in Alabama -4.5, even though they lost. Then they should be pissed off. It's a rivalry game, so I pass on this game. But I don't know who Alabama is right now. I don't know who DeBoer is. I don't think this is his type of quarterback. He needs a Penix type who can throw the ball, not a Milrose type. All right, Missouri, 353 to Arkansas. Missouri starting to play like the Missouri I know, a B team, 20 defense. Arkansas, B team, 25. 3.5, 53. I wonder if there's weather issues. I keep seeing these lines go down a bit. Both are B, and Cook's playing very well. Another high draft pick for you, right in your lap. Brady Cook, Missouri. And they have their superstar running back. I can't think of his name, but I know they have a real good running back. So Missouri's probably getting healthy, and they're showing you what they are against Arkansas. Total of 53. My gut says over, because Missouri put up 30 on Oklahoma. They beat Oklahoma, put up 30, and Alabama gets 3. I just love it. Arkansas tends to score a lot. I don't know. Missouri can play good defense, but I think this is an over 53-47. We talked about North Carolina State. I see a 2.5 now. So, Alex, your logic's going in reverse. People are betting on NC State, not North Carolina. maybe it's the total is down to 54.5 from 50. So all your logic, Alex, is going out the window. They're betting it under, and they're betting on NC State. I don't know. I didn't play this game. I think the only way you play North Carolina is over, but I have no interest. Michigan State 247 to Rutgers. This game probably low scoring. Total 47, down from 48. I would say this is under. Rutgers, they both have 24 defenses. Neither team really has a good offense. Rutgers has a good running back, but I can see Rutgers winning this game, getting 8, and I can see this game going under. But I passed. Northern Illinois, 13.5, 40. This is why I'm so giddy. This is like I found at least 20 plays here, and I damn near have 5 locks and damn near played all 20. It was all I could do to only play Texas State over yesterday. I didn't trust Ole Miss laying 26. I was right. I didn't trust Georgia laying. I was right. I did like Georgia Tech, but I didn't know if Kings was playing, so I was paralyzed. And my Utah team wins. Go figure that one out. Without Cam Rising. Northern Illinois, 13.5, 40 to Central Michigan. Here it is. Northern Illinois is the under team who beat Notre Dame, by the way. Notre Dame would have been undefeated, but I don't know if they'd have the same thing. Because they lost, they got pissed off. Had they beaten Northern Illinois the way they should have, they might have lost to Army or Navy or one of those because, now they've got the loss. They're playing, scared. Central, a W team with a terrible defense, 30. Northern Illinois should win. It's a big line, 13. 40 is the total. Wow. This game was 45. There must be, let me check the weather here. For this to go down 5, I think there's a lot of wind and weather here. Let's go. Weather in Northern Illinois. Partly cloudy and 25, 14-mile-an-hour winds that are diminishing to 11, then 9. No snow. I don't get it. It's cold, but that doesn't make the game go under. It's sunny day, cold, and windy. So I'm absolutely shocked that this game is dropped from 45 to 40. Wow, that makes no sense. However, maybe let me check. I didn't check the injuries. But that wouldn't make the total go down. Central, a lot of injuries. Fuck, no wonder they're sucked this year. One quarterback, Labius, is out, but he's not. He was a starter, but they replaced him. And then Emmanuel has a hamstring. I think he's their quarterback. Northern Illinois, nothing too bad. So I think it's Central with all these injuries, but then why 45 to 40? So with all the injuries, I think you go Northern Illinois here, lay the 7. But again, I'm not playing it. UTEP, New Mexico State. New Mexico State, 3.5, 51.5. This is Z versus Z. 351. This line hasn't moved. Both teams with 35 defenses. Both teams are Z teams. Good luck if you want to risk on a Z team. Jacksonville State, 1.5, 61 to Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky was a 2-point favorite. Jacksonville State's now a 1.5-point favorite. Total 61. Jacksonville State's been hot. They've been winning a lot of games. Western Kentucky's okay. They are a home dog on Senior Day. I like Jacksonville State as the dog, but then now they're the favorite. So I like the dogs in a lot of games because I get over 7, right? Now I don't like Jacksonville State getting 4.5. Now it goes to, do I like Western Kentucky in 7.5? Western Kentucky, 22 defense. They're a B team. Jacksonville State's an over with the 27. So probably a close game. L-Tech, 11.5, 42 to Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State's a Z team. L-Tech's an under team. 11 and 41.5. So this line went from 43 to 41.5, the total. Kansas State's a Z team, 31 defense, get 260 yards a game. So you're not getting offense from them. But L-Tech's an under team, 20 with a good defense, 22. They just won a big game a week or two ago and 300 yards of offense. So it's probably, being senior day, L-Tech's probably a good play here. Kennesaw State's so bad. I don't like the unders against the Z teams, but I think in this case, you're only laying 5. Kennesaw State's terrible. TCU, Cincinnati. I haven't played this game, but I'm thinking about it. I was doing some research on it. TCU is 358.5 to Cincinnati. If I can find it. Where are you back on this page? Where are you, boys? Here they are. Yeah, in the middle of the last page. So they went from a 3:00 game to a 6:00 game. TCU 358.5. That line really hasn't moved. I love playing TCU over. They're an over team, 27 defense, over coach. We saw what they did to Michigan in the playoffs. Cincinnati's an E team, 25. They are not very good this year, Cincinnati. I was looking at their results. They've lost like 5 or 6 out of 7. They had a big win over Arizona State somehow, and then they've lost all the other games. And TCU's coming on. They killed the last 2 games. TCU's normally an over because they score a ton and their defense is a 27. The over here is 58. It's in Cincinnati. We know that's going to be cold weather because we know, this is 33, low winds, and just partly cloudy. So they're actually warmer because they're a little more south. Injuries, TCU, nothing, absolutely just questionable. Cincinnati, nobody really out lately. A couple of wide receivers questionable, but they'll play. So the only problem you have here is it's senior day. And so it's hard to play TCU on senior day, even though you think they'll win because they've been playing good and Cincinnati sucks. But it's the last game and it's senior day, so you got to respect that. So it's not that easy to play TCU here. So let's see, Bobby, or I might burn my jersey. You're making a 17 parlay, G. You probably want to go talk to Titus on that one. He's the 18 master. But yeah, I mean, I think that's good. You know what teams to play. So, don't bet too much on it, but bet it. I think I've faded out the loser. So we should be good. Love the pro games. And the college make a whole lot of sense. I don't really see danger. I think we've got the totals are pretty low, and the teams are pretty good, and that's why I didn't do anything with Ohio State, Michigan as far as the team, because that would be a danger, right? Oh, Michigan, the dog's good, so I kind of stayed away from that. I just didn't feel it, but I did play the game total wise. So Cincinnati, I think this game should go over, but Cincinnati, Sorsby's pretty good. 25, yeah. TCU is going to run up and down the field on them. Yeah, probably. And I might add this as an over. I'll have to think about it. It's not till it's a 6:00 game, guys. So it's only 11:50. Georgia Southern, 2.5, 61 to App State. This is a battle of the O teams. Georgia Southern, we know, is explosive. App State, Joey Aguilar. App State with the 33 defense. Georgia Southern with the 28. 2.5, 61. 62. Yeah, I mean this definitely is an over game. App State, Aguilar's a good quarterback, and they have no defense. See, the coaches played all these games. So James Madison went to Indiana. I think the App State guy went to James Madison. So App State's left with nobody. And Georgia Southern, very explosive. So 33 defense against the 28 with two good offenses. Yeah, this should be an over. I might play this with TCU over. That makes sense to me. I'll add that. Washington State 18, 56 to Wyoming. Washington State. Here we go. Went from 17 to 18, 58, went down to 56. Again, they're betting the sharps are betting the under, or is it the algorithms betting the under? Is there actually people betting now, or is it all algorithms who don't know what the fuck they're doing? Washington State's an over team with the 29 defense. Wyoming is a W team with the 30, which means they score maybe 18, 20 a game. You give up 30. Washington State, I believe they played like a 90-point game with Oregon State last week. I think Oregon State won it like 48, 46 or something. Senior day, Washington State, much better team. Still struggling defense. Wyoming does not have an offense. I think Washington State wins this game pretty comfortably. Indiana and Purdue. Indiana with a tough loss to Ohio State, 29, 56 and a half. Purdue is a Z team. Indiana needs this game to win the division, and they have to win it and to possibly win, get into the playoffs. But they got to do it. They got to beat them by 50. They can't beat Purdue 10-7 and try to make the playoffs. Purdue with the Z team. Probably a revenge game because Purdue probably won last year because Indiana finally got good this year. They're the A team with the 16 defense. Purdue's a Z team with the 38 defense. We've seen Indiana put up 40, 50 points. Boom, boom, boom. I'm expecting the same thing here today. Purdue's terrible. Even though it's a rivalry, but it is at Indiana, so they're a home. They did lose to Ohio State, in my mind, 17-15. Their defense still strong, and their offense, they're not seeing the defense like Ohio State. So go Indiana, beat Navy here. Florida State, Florida, 60.5, 45.5. Now, God, this got moved all around. That's the trouble when I do my homework on Sunday, all the games get fucked around because of TV. So this game I have at the 3:00 time, and it's 7:00. Florida State 16.5, or Florida 16.5, 45. I thought about Florida for about 10 minutes, and this is where the danger comes in. It's a rivalry game. It's at Florida State. They'll probably kill them, but Florida's been playing really good ball, beating they beat Ole Miss last week, right? So they could be a little spent. Florida State could play one game. I don't know if Uglia Buglia is playing. Probably not. Their backup quarterback sucks too. I mean, this coach, what the fuck's he doing? He has Travis, and then after that, he's got Larry Moe and Curley. So I just thought that it was 10.5. I just don't like at Florida State. They have pride. I see this where I got off of Florida. I got onto better teams. LSU and Oklahoma. Bobby, you going to play tonight? You think they're going to win? You going to the game? LSU 647.5. LSU's been terrible the last few weeks. Oklahoma, okay, they're going to be flatter than BYU was when they lost to Kansas. LSU in the swamp, no, in the Baton Rouge, what do they call it? Saturday night. No, I think it's the swamp too. Swamp, or something like that. 647.5. Oklahoma an E team with a 20 defense, and LSU E at 24. There's no way LSU's losing this game. No way. I mean, Oklahoma had their game. They beat Alabama. They're all cloud, sky high. Now you got to travel to LSU, and you ain't ready to travel to LSU. LSU will put a number on them. Death Valley. There you go. I knew it was something like that. Yeah, they're not gonna. LSU's winning this game, plain and simple. Oklahoma will not show up. No fucking way. Great game here. Iowa State 2.5, 51.5 to Kansas State. Excellent game. Iowa State needs it. Kansas State's too far out. I can find it. Oh, come on. Where the fuck? It's right under the Florida game. So Iowa State down from 3 to 2.5, 51.5. The guy on the radio said he didn't like Rocco Breck. I don't mind Rocco Breck. He's not the problem. Iowa State, good team, great coach, always a good defense. K-State's always got a good defense. So this is a B team, Kansas State, 21 defense against Iowa State. An A team, 19 defense. Iowa State must win. They have a chance to win the division, and go to the playoffs. Total of 51. So you got a 19 defense and a 21. Normally, I would think this is an under game with two strong defenses. K-State likes to run the ball, and Iowa State, they don't have the running back like David Montgomery, who they used to have. So they can't eat the clock. So it's more passing. So, I hate betting against Iowa State, and I hate betting against Kansas State. 51. I think this has got to be an under, but it could go higher. It's a hard one to call. I've seen Iowa State put up. I saw Kansas put up 48 on Iowa State, so I'm still like scratching my head on that one. How good is Devin Neal from Kansas? Jesus Christ, he might be like Gale Sears, although he doesn't have the moves of Gale Sears. So I'm not playing the game. I think Kansas State's a live dog, and I think the under, but I'm not touching it. Oregon, Washington. Oregon 18-51 to Washington. Washington's an under team with a 20 defense. Oregon's the A team with the 15 defense. They put up 33 on Ohio State. Nobody does that. They won at Michigan by 20. Washington plays pretty good at home, but they're not at home. Now, what really intrigues me, this is a double revenge game. Oregon lost to Washington in the regular season and in the playoff. That would have got them into the playoff had they won. Washington beat them. That's how good Penix is, right? So you don't know about Penix. They beat Oregon twice because of Penix. Now you see he doesn't have Penix, and the board's not the same. So it's Penix that won. But you got Oregon. Will Rogers is not Penix for Washington. Oregon, Gabriel, they play well at home. It's a double revenge game, and they're the number one team in the country with the killer defense, 15 defense. So go Oregon, beat Navy. Texas A&M, Texas 5, 48.5. Both A teams, Texas with the 12 defense, A&M with the 22. Both teams needed to win the SEC, so this should be a hell of a game. You know my rule, AA, tease the dog. I think this is a tease the dog game. Absolutely. Let's check injuries real quick. Maybe Archie Manning's playing this game, or Peyton, or Peyton, or Peyton, or whatever the fuck his name is. I really don't like Peyton Manning. I hate his humor. Okay, yours is probable, the Texas quarterback. I guess he was out or he had a bad ankle, so I wonder how good his ankle is. DB's out. This is Texas, and DB's out. Running back's out. Tinker Owens, who used to play for Oklahoma, is the backup quarterback, I guess, is out. And two running backs have been out the whole year with the knees. We knew that in training camp. A&M, let's see, questionable. DB out, wide receiver out, Moss, the running back, out, and O lineman out. So nobody serious for them. Let's go to the weather. Any weather? We got 7 o'clock in Texas, and it's 58 degrees and no wind. So the weather is not an issue here. This is at Kyle Field, so it's at A&M. I think there's one game I think at the Jury Dome today. Come on, this stupid thing. Oh, fuck, okay. All right, next game is Marshall and James Madison. James Madison, 3.5, 52.5. Marshall's been red hot. Quarterback's very good. James Madison, an 18 with a 19 defense. Marshall will be with the 24. I got 3.5, 52 for James Madison. This should be a very good game. I don't know if this is a rivalry. Marshall's West Virginia, and James Madison, I believe, is in Virginia. I'm not sure. James Madison, an 18 with a 19 defense, stops me from going over in the game, but I do. Marshall's been scoring well. I kind of have an intuition on Marshall here, but I haven't played it yet. This is one of those. If I'm doing really good today, I'll add Marshall to the mix with the what was that over with the App State Georgia Southern over or something. Virginia Tech 6.5, 47.5 to Virginia. Virginia Tech's a B team, 23 defense. Virginia's an E with a 28. Let's check if Drones is playing, the quarterback for V Tech. Virginia, holy shit, they got 15 guys, but they're okay. Running back out with the collarbone, defensive tackle out with the shoulder, tight end out with the knee, O lineman out with an Achilles, but that's August. So I don't see any quarterback issues. V-Tech, Drones. Drones is questionable with an undisclosed. So there's more risk in the game. A lot of questionables for V-Tech. Stroman out, safety out, DL out. Let's check last game. So in here, if you go down, you can see quarterback passing stats, and you can see what happened last game. So did Drones play? See, Drones didn't play last game. They played Duke, and it was Willie Watson and Slee. Slee's came from Akron. So you didn't have Drones last game. They lost 31-28 to my Duke team. Virginia got killed by SMU with Calandria, who's their normal quarterback. They got killed by Notre Dame, and they did beat Pitt. So Drones is questionable. So I will stay away from Virginia Tech here. It's a rivalry game. So again, we will see. You think if you just hit the back button, it would take you to where you were, but no, it takes me down to the bottom. It wants me to read the ads, I guess. Okay, just a second. All right. Nevada against Vegas, the all casino game. We got Vegas 17.5, 55.5. Vegas needs this game to get into the championship game in the Mountain West. It's it's Vegas, it's Colorado State. And I think and Boise won, so it's between Vegas, Colorado State. I think Colorado State won last night. So Vegas must win to get into the championship. There's 17.5, 55.5. Obviously, I don't know if they play indoors or not, but yeah, Sarah, I got it, Bobby. Saturday night in Baton Rouge. Titus, good morning to you. You're in Vegas, so you're up early. Uh, Titus is the man. If we want a loan, you go to Titus. But but you got to do it in gold. You got to pay him back in gold. I got all the professors' plays. Can't wait until 9 a.m. All right, Titus, bring us back some money. Make us proud. Are you selling them? It's fine to sell them. Just keep me in the loop of give me my percentage of if you sell them there. But yeah, you should be able to make a fortune with all the locks we got this weekend. Plus tomorrow's locks. So bon appetit, Titus. Um, So Vegas 17 and a half. Nevada. Vegas is a team, 22 defense. Nevada is an E with a 28, 55 the total. I don't know. Vegas should win. It's a rivalry, but I like when the home team and the rival. That's where you get more of your upsets. BYU 12 and 40 to Houston. BYU in a must-win game. They're an A team, 12 and a half, 40 and a half, down from 41 and a half. BYU, 20 defense. Houston, an under team with the 22, who got their ass kicked by Arizona, costing me, motherfuckers. Well, I mean, it's simple. BYU at home has to win to get into the playoff in the Big 12 with somebody. I mean, there's basically 9 teams, but we concentrated on the 4 who are 2 losses or 1 loss, and then some have 2 losses. So Arizona State, BYU, Iowa State, and Arizona State, BYU. There was one other one. So Iowa State's got Kansas State, Arizona State's got Arizona, and BYU has got Houston. So BYU in a must-win game. If you want to lay 6.5, be my guest. Air Force, San Diego State, Air Force 5.5, 43.5. Wow, this went from 3.5 to 5.5 and 43.5. Air Force is starting to play good. They switch quarterbacks. San Diego State sucks. So Air Force is probably an E team, not an under team. They are scoring 23 defense. San Diego State's a W team with a 30. I think your Air Force should win this game. They're playing well the last few games. And our last game, New Mexico, Hawaii. New Mexico 3.5, 62, up from 2. The Sharps are all over New Mexico. They must see something we don't see. New Mexico is an over team with a 38 defense. Brock Mendenhall's the coach. He used to be BYU's coach. Then he went to Virginia. Now he ends up in New Mexico. They are extremely explosive, New Mexico, but they have a 38 defense. Hawaii is a W. They don't score, which is hard to believe with that offense, and a 26 defense. I think this is going to be a really high-scoring game. I think Hawaii at home, senior day, will light it up. New Mexico will light it up, and you can't stop the win with the 38 defense. So if you need a game at 10, 11 o'clock tonight, go over in the New Mexico-Hawaii game. So that is it. Yes, I have 5 locks today. I've covered them. Ohio State, Michigan, I ended up taking under. Just because, but I don't love it. It's cold, 2 good defenses. Michigan without an offense. Ohio State, yeah, it's revenge, but I just don't see it. So look out there. They're laying 19. It's a lot of points. Michigan played Indiana 20-15. That's the thing. And then they put up 50 on Northwestern somehow. So I really I think it's low scoring because, rivalry, 2 good defenses. The dog usually covers here. And Ohio State really hasn't beaten a really good team by any more than 7. Penn State 2013, Nebraska by 3 or 4, 21-17, and then Indiana was really a 17-15, but they get a punt return and the punter fumbles the ball. So I don't count those 2 touchdowns. That's not their offense driving and scoring. That's bullshit. You're not going to get a punt return against Michigan. And I don't think Michigan's punter is going to drop the ball. So you can't count on that. Now, Michigan's cornerback, the real good one, I think, is like quit. He's sitting out, getting ready for the draft. I think he's a little injured, but I would never draft a guy because he doesn't have passion, doesn't want to play. So fuck him. Don't draft him. A lot of these Michigan guys are little babies anyway. I might get hurt. I got to get ready for the NFL draft. Oh, yeah, I really want to draft you. So they're not all like Tom Brady. Let's see. You have plenty of locks. Everyone needs to jump on board. Well, thank you, Titus. Appreciate it. Get the guys in Vegas to jump on board. Charge them $100 a lock. Well, she might need to talk to you, Titus, how to play the 7, but I think I know what 7 she's playing. So good for her. I got a really good vibes today, so we'll see. Sometimes you're picking them and you feel it, and then the game day you're like, I don't know if they're going to win. Today, though, yeah, good vibes. Texas State stayed away from Kansas City instead of losing. That's why you stay away from them. Instead of losing with Kansas City laying 7, we don't play it, and we would have lost. Because there's no way you could have taken Oakland. Well, maybe with 19. But anyway, that's what we do. I'm not going to – we'll do the pros tomorrow. I wanted to talk a little economics, and I wanted to talk a little stoic. So please feel free if you have questions on football, just shout them out. So no free play because they've been losing, and I don't want to give out a loser. So we're not going to have a free play, but I think I've given you enough clues that you can figure out what to do. So I'm in the sauna. This is a stoic story on gold. So the guys are talking about gold, and normally I just shut up and I take my sauna and I leave. But I couldn't resist. These guys are talking about Bitcoin and stuff, stock market, and I kind of made off them, and I said, the dollar's going out, and the stock market's going to crash, and Bitcoin's a Ponzi scheme. So what the fuck are you doing? And one guy, so I give him my Titanic, and I said, well, the dollar's collapsed. It's gone to zero. Putin's coming out with gold-backed currency, which I will show you in Mark McGuire, which is happening very, very soon. You got this war going on for God knows what reason. Biden must have his head up his ass. And then so I'm telling them, well, the dollar's going out. They don't believe it. The stock market's going to crash. Well, no. Okay. And I says, well, I'm in gold because you can't print it. Gold's a lock. You can't lose in gold. It can only go up. So one guy yelled at me that gold doesn't go up in value. And I said, it goes up in value like every other fucking asset. Does a Rolex go up? Yes. Does a nano card go up? Yes. So why the fuck wouldn't gold go up? Well, gold just stays the same. No, gold doesn't stay the same. It's an asset. If more people want it than there is gold, the price goes up. I read you that Egon thing, and he's saying it's going to go up. But even without Egon, I know if you have high demand, you have a higher price. That's simple economics, which is what I teach every fucking day here. So I'm sitting there, and the guy's sitting behind me, and he goes, well, you're wrong on everything. And I says, I'm not wrong on anything. Stoic. I'm not wrong on anything. I know exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm dead 100% nuts on. Your only out is gold. Otherwise, you're fucked. And I didn't, but the guy wouldn't listen. Well, I'm in a 401k. And I'm like, it sounds like Luke's friend with the 4 million in the 401k. I go, you're fucked. The dollar's collapsed. Gold, BRICS is coming out with the gold-backed currency. You can't compete with the gold-backed currency. What is so hard to understand? Do I want gold or do I want toilet paper? And it's pretty easy. I don't want this shit. I want the gold. So, he can't really argue with me. So he says, "Well, you don't know what you're wrong." I just kind of laughed, like, I thought of you, Bobby. Yeah, it's a shake my head moment. And then he brings up the like your daughter. He goes, "Well, you can't eat gold," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, I can't eat a Rolex either, but I don't mind owning them." Um, I'm not trying to eat gold. Do you eat the dollar? Do you eat this? Do you put it in your mouth and eat it? I mean, you use it to buy the food. Well, I would use gold to buy the food. When the dollar goes out, the only thing able to buy the food will be the gold and silver. It's not that hard to understand. You're buying an asset that's going to go way up. And then I told them it was not supply and demand. It was price fixed by derivatives by JP Morgan. That went way over their heads. They couldn't respond to that. So one guy just thinks, no, it's supply and demand. And I go, well, you out of your mind? At what point is it supply and demand? Nobody's sold gold when it went down. Everybody's buying at all the central banks, Russia, China, they're all buying it as fast as they can. There is nobody selling gold. Nobody's this stupid, except for the 10 guys who go to my store and they sell it because they don't know any better. And they think, oh, it's at 2,700. I'll sell it now. Anyway, so I just then one guy kind of said, oh, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. And so he started talking to me about, teach me. By the way, gold closed at 26.50 yesterday, and silver, we don't even care. 30.62. It's at least probably 50 times lower than what it should be. It should be at least $1,000 an ounce by now, probably two. Yes, G. Miami of Florida is the Hurricanes. Yes. I always abbreviate my picks because that's the way we do it, right? That's how I learned. So if it's Houston, it's HOU, Detroit, DET. So, so one guy sees and he says, no, I'm learning from this guy. And so he takes me aside and I said, look, you can't keep printing money to zero. Look at the Romans, look at Germany. I'm giving all these examples where the dollar goes out and the people are poor and broke. Well, it can't happen here. Well, it's going to happen here. There's nothing Trump can do. He has one option, which is to make the money gold back and make the gold price $25,000 an ounce, which we're fine with. If he doesn't do that, the debt's fucked. If you don't pay it off, nobody will ever give you money again. That's how you run the government. So he can't default on it. He can't inflate it to zero. But as you see, nobody wants it. All the central banks are dumping it for gold. Russia, China, India, Saudi Arabia, all the BRICS, Brazil, they all want gold. And that's where they're ending. And all the central banks are buying gold. So what they're saying is, I don't want the dollar, which makes the dollar worthless. So the dollar is worthless. You buy your gold and silver now because what's going to happen soon, they're not going to take the dollar. They're going to say, we don't take dollars for the gold. So the gold may be 3,000 an ounce. They're going to say, you can't pay with dollars. We don't want dollars. I don't know how they'll sell it, but that's coming. Not necessarily now, but soon. Nobody will take the dollar, and nobody will. So you won't be able to buy anything. That's when you go to your daughter, Bobby, and go, this is why we bought gold there, is because now we can take our gold and silver and go to the grocery store and turn it into whatever money they're going to use, hopefully gold back, but we don't have any gold, as we know. So we'll probably be moving to a different country soon where they actually have money, because we don't. Bobby Bo, that's funny you bring that up, Professor, because I was around two good buddies of mine who argued with me for a while about that, and they did not understand anything. They said the same thing. They say you can't buy anything with gold or silver. Oh, really? Okay. Can you buy anything with a Rolex? Can you buy anything with Mano card? Excuse me, or Willie Mays? And can you buy anything with, you can buy this because it's money, but it's worth nothing. That's the point. This has lost 99% of its value. So what, a dollar can't even buy you a stick of gum, can it? So that's the point that they're missing, is the value of the dollar. And that's what happened in the sauna. They didn't get that either. The dollar's going to zero. And somebody said no. And then I said, you probably were in Madoff, weren't you? Motherfuckers. Uh, People don't like to know they're wrong. And that's what I run into but I had to say something. It just felt so good to piss them all off. So I'm just sitting there and they're talking Bitcoin and gold or Bitcoin and in the stock market. And then I just had to fire it in there, Bobby. Fire a fastball right at them and piss everybody off. And I loved it. We were cool again afterwards because we knew each other for a long time, but why I can't only hang out with these people once in a while. That's exactly the problem. Once you have the knowledge that I've given you, and then so I tell you the sky's blue and they say the sky's green, Bobby. And you're going, fuck, I know it's blue. Professor told me it's blue. I see it's blue. And then you can't talk to him. And that's the biggest reason I don't talk to my brother, because he's a fucking, anything I would say, he would say the other. If I say it was blue, he'd say it was green. So, I mean, basically, you're right. You can't be with those people. So that's why being stoic, you're alone a lot, because I don't want to be with somebody who's going to fuck me on gold and everything. So if you don't believe what I'm saying, then I don't trust you and I don't want to be around you anyway. So that's why a lot of stoics are kind of by themselves, because we can't handle the bullshit of the people who don't understand us. Now, Daria understands us, so that's why I want to be with her. But that's the point, is just use logic. All the central banks in the world are buying gold. And you still don't think that's good enough reason? Bobby walked away feeling Len. I was talking to a bunch of 9-year-olds. Oh, like I was talking. Yeah, figure that out, Bobby. Like I was talking to a bunch of 9-year-olds. The problem I have with people is you can prove the theory, they still won't listen. I got $100,000 in my 401k, and I'm like, it's going to be worthless. You can't lose in gold. And they said, well, gold's never gone up. I says, well, you got BRICS buying gold. You got all the central banks buying gold. And you've got the new Basel III, which says you've got to settle these derivatives, which makes it less likely to do it. You can see gold's gone up from 1900 to 2,700. And Mark McGuire says it's going to at least 3,000 in a month by the end of the year, which I will play Mark McGuire in a minute. But this is, I don't know if it's they don't respect your word, or it's they don't trust themselves that they can't do that. I'm really puzzled by, you tell them that, the sun sets in the west, and they don't believe you. And you're like, and then some people, like the one guy did, oh, great. Oh, thank you. But the rest of the guys were like, and then the one guy says, you're wrong. And I just laughed at him. I says, I'm not wrong. I know exactly what I am. Not only am I stoic, but I got the master's in it, and I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm not wrong at all. And these are not opinions, and I'm not guessing. These are facts that will happen. So I just, who the fuck are you to tell me I'm wrong about everything? About everything. Gold's not going to go up. The dollar's not going to go out. Oh, you know better. He probably works at Merrill Lynch or something. They think they know what they're talking about. And then one guy said he went to his financial planner and they got him in all these stocks. He says, well, I got to understand why he didn't put me in gold. I says, it's not on the menu. They don't make commission by selling gold, so they won't sell it. That's why they don't give a fuck about you. They give a fuck about them. It's just like Attack on Wall Street. We're in it for the commissions. So we're not going to put you in gold because we won't get a commission on it. And we don't care about you. We don't care if we make you money or you go broke. This is the problem. And this is why I'm a neutral. I am not in it to make money. I do not get commission. I tell you guys, there's nothing in it for me but helping you guys. So that's why you can trust me. But the financial planners, they'll never tell you in gold because they don't get commission on it. It's just bullshit. I think your audio is muted. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, okay. Yeah, because I'm getting too many comments that it was mute. But I can see on the bottom, if I see I see white bubbles and then gray bubbles. So as long as I see a couple of gray bubbles, I know I'm okay. But anyway, I'm glad it's back. So let's go to Mark McGuire. So that was my stoic economic story. How people who don't believe me, you just got to laugh at. All right. Here's one thing that you should do before we get to it. Castor oil and baking soda. I bought castor oil and I got to buy baking soda. So here's what castor oil looks like, at least at Meijer's. And it's in more of the pharmacy section than the food section. This is castor oil. You do not drink this. You rub it on your knees, your feet, your back, whatever hurts, and it'll heal it. It's a deep thing. But apparently with baking soda, it's a real, it's a real thing. So try that out, especially on your feet. Putin launches this a lot of missiles, and 1 million Ukrainians are in darkness because he went after the energy. Or I think Ukraine turned off the energy, whatever. So it's cold there and there's no lights. So Putin and he's doing it because they invaded Russia. What the fuck are you invading Russia for? You want? So he's going to respond to you. He's not going to take it. So I don't know what the hell Biden is doing. And then there's another one here. Explosions reported all over Ukraine. So there's bombing the shit out of Ukraine. I hope Jenna's okay. I haven't talked to her in a while. And I didn't like the way she was treating me on the trip. So I'm like, being stoic, you don't take that shit. If you're around a vampire, you leave. So, these are like the stoic ones. Well, if a girl's treating you like this, you just walk away. And that's what I did. Okay, here's Mark McGuire.
Too soon. Now, Mom? I cannot understress how big an initiative this is.
They now have to keep printing or we crash.
We've got this ticking time bomb.
Talking gold with the one and only Andrew McGuire.
Welcome to the
At Market.
Okay, this is gold purchases by China. And then he does bring up a little on Russia. BRICS currencies coming out with a minimum of $3,000 gold price. So let's hear a little from Mark. Well, Stoicism, like, it's who you're compatible. Like, don't be in a bad marriage or in a bad relationship. If the girl's not respecting you and treating you right, especially when I'm treating her right. I mean, I pay for Jenna's trips, and she's bitching at me. Oh, Howard, you missed the whisker. Or Howard, you didn't. It's Positano, not Positino. And I'm like, who the fuck cares? I took off my shoes and my sock, or I put on socks, and stuff from my shoe gets on them. And she's all like freaking out about those. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? And then she had a bottle of wine every day and a lot of cigarettes. And I think it's the nerves from the war. but don't let it out on me. You're supposed to be in Italy on a vacation where we should enjoy and relax, not sit there and picking on me for saying a word wrong, which I didn't really give a fuck, and everything else. So we'd go to the beach. I'd buy us the chairs for 20 euros each, feed her, and she's giving me this shit. So it was like, Howard, and I just like, okay, I hope she enjoys the trip. And then that's it. And she got home. I said, I'm home. And then that was, I didn't respond to her. And she hasn't responded back to me yet either. She, and I'm like, fine. And I've been with Daria ever since. So anyway, and by the way, Daria's got a little fever, but hopefully she's okay. She's in St. Pete. She's not getting bombed on. She's fine. But Ukraine, man, they're just missiling them. So I don't know. But why is the UK firing missiles at Russia? What are they, out of their fucking minds? All right, Mark McGuire.
Now, Andrew, can you expand on the PBOC's initiative? And you were saying to drive up the price of gold.
Yeah, Shane. Wrong-footed officials.
Well, let me answer Bobby's question. What do you do to ensure you remain stoic in situations? Well, stoic is kind of like in the steam room. I didn't yell at anybody, but I knew I was right. So I'm saying, no, the gold's worthless, and it's made off, and the dollar's worthless, and gold's about to go way up. And some guy's yelling me, oh, the gold, and I just remain calm. It's really just remaining calm. And you just walk away going, I can't talk to this. Like you with your friends, you just walk away going, there's nothing to say. And that's it. So that's where you go with it. You say to yourself, they don't agree with me, but I'm not going to argue with it. It's not worth my time to argue with these people. They just don't understand. And I just walk away, and I know what I'm doing, and I'm fine, and I'm not going to listen to them. And that's basically what it is. You just keep your calm, and you just shake your head and walk away and go, this, like in the sauna, I didn't waste my time with it. I basically so the guy says, you're wrong. And I basically said, no, I'm not. I know I'm right. And I didn't pay any attention to the guy. So the guy sees me, and when we get out of the sauna, and he says, you can't eat gold or something. And I just laughed at him. I basically didn't. So you don't really fight. You don't go back and forth. You don't get emotional. You just stay calm, and you just, you're wrong. And I said, I'm not. And that was it. And then you get up and leave. I mean, you don't play with idiots. You just let it go. And that's all you can do. That's the way you stay stoic, is you just, you kind of go blank, and you kind of go, I can't talk to. What I tend to do is either say, fuck off, or you're too stupid to talk to. And that tends to work, especially with the you too stupid to talk to. I mean, I can't, you don't know what you're talking about. I can't talk to you. And I'm not going to sit here and fight and try to convince you. This is the way it is. Today's Saturday. If you don't like it, tough. But I know I'm right. Today's Saturday. All right, Mark.
Really, once again, being snookered by the PBOC. Beijing has just launched a brand new conduit designed to suck in hundreds of tons of Western underpriced bullion to flow into China's industrial base, where it can, with a click of a keystroke, ultimately be weaponized to hedge against a financial or an increasingly likely military war. We're seeing potential very large tariffs. We're looking at a very tenuous situation over Taiwan, and a lot of threats. And in fact, we've seen the US really openly preparing for war with China. It cannot be ignored. As well.
The U.S. will never go to war with China. China will never go to war with Taiwan. China doesn't want to go to war, and they, with anybody, They just want to do business. We make all these products and we want to buy gold, just like me. That's China. They're not going to war. The U.S. has no army to go to war. If you listen to Douglas McGregor, we have no army. We have no weapons. We've given it all to the Ukraine. There is no fucking way we are going to war with China. So he's not sure.
With Russia. Now, much as the strategically timed launch of the Shanghai Futures Exchange blindsided traders betting against gold, the stealthy BRICS-related initiative to attract more Western price gold and silver into China, I say silver too, by no coincidence confluences with the anticipated options-related paper gold sell-off. Just looked at it on the charts. Now, the PBOC relaxed Shanghai Gold Exchange rules to allow smaller firms to trade smaller volumes on the SGE physical exchange. Now, this is, I cannot understress how big an initiative this is. It's completely unfactored into current supply-demand assessments. In fact, liquidity providers expect it's going to force physical prices over $500 per ounce higher. By the end of the first quarter of 2025, it's going to force silver to break out into all-time highs. And this is not guesswork. It is simply a matter of looking at the supply-demand fundamentals and the inability to settle it in the paper markets. Now, to give an idea of scale, there are 55 million. This is not typos. 55 million small and medium-sized enterprises, what they call the SMEs, this is really designed to capture, and they contribute, to give that idea of scale, 50% of all the tax revenue. They produce 60% of all the GDP. They're 70% of technological innovation, and actually a massive 80% of urban employment. Now, these firms are turning, just to give you an idea of scale, on the kind of scale this is. And in fact, the March 2024 published data indicates the number of newly registered enterprises in China reached an average of 23,800 per day. That's not a typo again. This is massive. Now, the scale of this starts to filter in. Now, while the Shanghai Futures Exchange launch was viewed as speculative and everyone was saying, oh, this is just speculative, it was wrongly interpreted as fickle. And as we've been tracking the PBOC, this is stealthy. This is by design. The PBOC deliberately stands behind each incentivized gold buying initiative, underpinning it long enough for the global physical price to actually catch up and anchor a higher central bank buy point and institutional central bank buy point, thereby strategically bolstering their massive state-held, official, and as yet unpublished monetary reserves, gold reserves. Now, the undertaking to protect CNY gold buyers, that's been in place since 2010. We've looked at it before. It led to the PBOC flywheeling, managing the Chinese-facing CNY gold price, sometimes stepping in to tighten up this CNY gold price to ensure that, tightening supply to flywheel and just to create a consistent premium to Western price gold. Sometimes it's been as high as $150 odd per ounce over the LBMA gold fixed prices from time to time. Now the gloves are off, and they want every ounce they can swap for weaponized US treasuries and dollars. And this is why each time a Western-facing synthetic range has been breached to the upside, net of the regular wash and rinse rinsing out of the naked long Western traders, which is a factor which is also factored in, the buy stealth BRICS gold price revaluation continues to overrun the Fed, who is the only central bank still betting against gold. Now, so basically, every other central bank, every institution that we know of are buying gold and are long gold. So really.
So when I say this in the sauna, the guy says I'm wrong. How the hell can I be wrong? I know what I'm listening to. The question is, who is he listening to? So that's a big problem.
This is placed them in the crosshairs for an enormous attack. So to illustrate, let's just take a really last look at the charts. Now, this brand new SGE initiative, Trump move. Now, I wanted to spend a lot of this week's episode to draw attention to this unfactored BRICS gold-backed war preparation initiative, which under the radar is preparing the China-Russia alliance to back the as yet unnamed Glazier's gold-backed commodity currency into an as yet unknown Trump administration. So while everyone thought that, yes, that while there was some snookering going on as far as the Enbridge platform was going to go, the BIS-backed Enbridge platform, they haven't sat back. This is the power. The only way you can power an alternate currency is with gold. And so along the way, so into the buy stealth, BRICS-driven gold price revaluation process, which is ongoing, each of the synthetic to physical market higher stair steps have been anchored following a series of healthy wash and rinse cycles, flushing out and cleansing the 75% momentum driven, these pillar to post naked long and short froth as it comes in and out. And we've just witnessed one. I've just witnessed the last one into the rise and the current pullback from the 2800 first notice high on the 30th of October through to the 2541 November lows. So first notice would actually ordinarily be tomorrow, which is Thanksgiving. But clearly that's a holiday. It'll be so illiquid. We actually feel that they're actually now undertaking to cover those positions now, or a day ahead of time. Now, what's becoming clearer, though, is that China has, through their secretive shadow banking operations, they've been stealthily converting a large percentage of the hidden over 3 trillion of largely dollar foreign exchange holdings into physical gold. Now, once this is ultimately revealed, the price of gold will far exceed our liquidity provider's 3,000 per ounce 2024 estimate, likely placing this as a floor to rally off. Now, if it is needed to be invoked, the nuclear option is for the Sino-Russia alliance to openly revalue their gold reserves, which, to avoid a related interconnected currency breakdown in the other global foreign exchange crosses, would trigger every other global central bank to also have to revalue their central bank gold reserves, a process that could be done really with a click of a mouse. And again, we've done episodes on.
So he just called for a $3,000 bottom. The bottom, so it's probably 3,500, and that all the central banks will revalue their gold. So I don't think, as Luke questions, is it going to go up 100, up 100? No, it'll be 3,000 and then or 3,500. They'll just, maybe it'll look like that, but I think it'll just go to 3,000 and then the trading. But as we get rid of the derivatives and go to a physical, which is what Russia's trying to do, then you're not going to have these pullbacks and this paper shit that we're dealing with. Again, buy as much gold and silver now because it's going to 3,000 and probably higher. Now, what kills me is Mark knows this, but when you listen to Alligator, he's like, oh, there'll never be a gold-backed currency. And you're like, what are you talking about? We listened to Mark McGuire, and it's done. I mean, it's coming out now. By the end of the year, it'll be $3,000 an ounce. What the fuck are you talking about, alligator? So I don't even understand alligator anymore. He's like, he's in a different world, or he's paid off or something. But I don't even waste my time listening to him. Is Luke still nervous? Luke's always nervous. 2025 should be good. Well, we're not done with 2024, but yeah, it should be a very good. We're always asking when, and we know it's going to happen. It's like saying, well, when's the sun coming up? Well, you got to wait till 7 a.m. or whatever. So it's going to happen. It's just when, and that's what we're dealing with here. So the longer it stays low, the more opportunity we have to buy it. Hence the guys in the sauna not really getting it. And it's really just a laugh out loud moment, because you're just, I know gold's going up, even without listening to Mark McGuire say 3,000, because I understand the concepts of, if you're coming out with a gold-backed currency and you have a lot of gold, you want the price to go up. If all the central banks are buying it, the demand's there. We know it's limited. I read Egon's thing. He's like saying it's 201,000 tons. I always thought it was 250,000 tons. And so do the math. There's not 201,000 tons available. There's 3,000 tons available, of which between the whole world, it's already gone. So the only way we can get it is when I go to my store and then somebody sold it and he's got a few ounces. So I can't really hesitate. I just got to keep buying, and I don't care what the price is. This is not a stock. You're not looking to income average. Well, I bought Coke at 60 and now it's down to 40. So if I buy it at 40, I really am buying it at 50. No, that's a stock. This is not a stock. This is not anything to do with the stock. This is an asset. This is like a Rolex. It's the same thing. It's just, it goes up based on demand. So the guy in the sauna is saying, well, it doesn't go up. What are you, insane? What do you mean it doesn't go up? Well, gold can't go up. Why can't it? If more people want it than there are gold, and this is my Mahomes, if 100 people want this card and there's only 50 of them, the price goes up because the 50 buy and then the other 50 want it. So they have to bid more, because I'm not going to, if I bought it for $100, I'm not selling it for 100. I want 500 because I already have the card. So now I can really play and go, I'm not going to do it. So that's kind of what you have in gold. There's more people who want, all the central banks demand is to get out of the dollar because they know the dollar is going out. Again, at what part am I missing that in the sauna? These people are not understanding that because they don't know. They probably don't know all the central banks are buying, or they don't believe it, or it doesn't matter, or we're the reserve currency. We'll just keep printing and nothing can happen, because these are Keynesians. Keynesians believe you just keep printing. They don't understand that if you keep printing, there is no value in it. And we know it's 99% gone. So obviously you can't keep printing or the value drops. And it's just like these analytics in football. If you go for it on 4th and 2, well, 51% of the time you get it. But if you don't get it, then what happens? Right? You lose the game. So are they looking at the whole analytics, or just the 51% that if you go for it, you get it, then it's a first down? They're not looking. It's the same thing here. If you keep printing the money, it'll will go to zero, as it's done every time in history. And so for the guy to tell me I'm wrong about everything, I laugh. That's how you stay stoic, Bobby. You know that you're right. I'm highly educated in this. I know I'm right. I don't have an issue. I'm not gonna fight about it because I know I'm right. What's the fight? Today's Saturday. If somebody says it's Sunday, what are you going to do? You go, well, you're out of your mind. I know it's Saturday. And that's how you stay stoic. You just know that you're right. And you just don't really want to argue about it. It's not worth it. I don't need to get emotional about it because I know I'm right. If you don't want to believe it, go fuck yourself. I don't care. I know I'm right. And all these guys are, oh, the stock market, look at it, it's going up. Yeah, that's where they got you. Bitcoin, yeah, it's a Ponzi scheme. It's not real. And then if the dollar goes out, the value of the Bitcoin's zero because it's valued in dollars. So it's really not that difficult. Well, enough of Mark right now, but we got the gist of Mark. So $3,000, it's coming out very soon. The gold-backed currency with China and Russia, and the fact that it wasn't talked about in the BRICS summit doesn't mean it's not going on. They probably couldn't, or the Americans might have been pissed off, so they probably just said no. But believe me, it's coming, and it's coming soon. Here's a short.
My first understanding of risk and protecting risk, finding the best asset to preserve wealth, which is, of course, gold. Throughout history, physical gold was the only money that has survived in history, as you know. It's the only money that has maintained the purchasing power in history. So it's such a simple investment. Gold never goes up. It's always paper money that goes down. You all know that. I'm speaking to the wrong people here, because you all know this. You're all gold experts. You've probably been into mining stocks or gold for a long time. The sad thing is, for a lot of you, the mining stocks are, of course, been a lot tougher to make money in physical gold. But the simple reason, whether you know the XAU is not higher now than it was launched in the late 1980s. We think mining stocks are going to come back in a major way. But for us, who are really experts in wealth preservation, we don't invest in the stocks. And we want to keep outside the banking system the physical gold that you have direct access to yourself.
Right, and that's the point. You want to get out of it. Now, he said the gold value never goes up. I disagree with it. And his thing I read from Twitter a couple of days ago did say that the price of gold will go up. So definitely will go up. There's a little thing.
Patience is running out. Moscow warns the West against pushing further. This comes as Ukraine faces relentless attacks and the U.S. ramps up its military support for Kyiv. The missile barrage on Ukraine has left 1 million people without electricity. Is the war escalating? Our next report brings you the latest from the battlefield.
Why the fuck is this happening? I have no idea. Why does Biden want to go to war with Russia?
Russian forces unleashed a massive assault on Ukraine. Missiles and drones rained down on Kyiv, Kharkiv, and Odessa.
I like Odessa. It's nice.
Plunge and emergency power outages leave millions in the cold. In Kyiv, residents, some holding small babies, seek refuge in metro stations as explosions rock the city.
Our mornings begin with checking the phone to see if there is an air alert. I have to take the eldest daughter to school. We saw that there was an air alert and went to the metro. What do we think about all this? We are indeed fed up with all of it.
The overnight strikes cripple Ukraine's already fragile infrastructure, adding new misery to the war-torn nation. Kyiv says it will continue to mount more assaults. Ukraine's recent strikes on Russian border regions using American and British missiles have further escalated tensions.
So why the fuck is this war going on? Why are these people still in Kiev? Kiev's the capital of Ukraine. Why are they still there? Now they're hiding out in the subway stations. Are you kidding me? And how are you going to eat? Like, they're going to blow up everything. So I'm shocked there's people still there, but that's the way the Ukrainians are. Like Jenna, she won't leave. It's my homeland. I'm not leaving. And I'm like, she wanted me to come there. I'm like, I'm not going to live in the middle of a war. You got to be kidding. We all die sometime, but I'm not looking for it. Right. You got to be kidding. But so this is what's really going on. I show you this because you're obviously not going to see it on any of the networks, and we probably don't even think about the war anymore, but I do because of Jenna. But they're firing. So we provoked Russia. Now, why would we provoke Russia? Now, the only conclusion I can come up with is so they run out of missiles, and it costs them a lot of money to replace them. So maybe this is a money thing where they'll go broke, keep making missiles, and keep firing it until they run out. Maybe they want them to run out of missiles. They have gold. They will not run out of money. They will use the gold, which is why the gold standard the gold back currency will be there for Russia and China, because they have to, because they're both going broke. But you can't go broke if you got gold. It's just like us. We know the dollar's worthless. That's why we run and buy gold and silver, because that's the protection. As Egon says, it protects you from the dollar collapsing, which it's going to do. The wars are very expensive. There's no revenue in a war. It's just you pay for missiles and they're very expensive, and planes and boats and tanks and cars and the weapons and the ammunition. And by the way, you got to feed the men. So the supply lines, you need gasoline for the tanks and the cars and the trucks to work. It's a very expensive thing. So we're broke because we keep giving money that we print out of thin air to the Ukraine. So that's why I'm saying our dollar's not worth anything. Nobody wants our dollar. And then Russia is having to spend a lot for all these missiles they're sending over and drones and everything. So because of that, that's why the gold. So the gold is the savior. I mean, that's because you can't print it. I don't like when they don't say, well, gold's been around forever. Well, because it's not able to be printed. It comes out of the earth. That's it. So gold always is king, because you can't destroy it. First of all, there's no way how you can destroy it. Even if you melt it, it doesn't go away. You can't melt this out. You can melt it and turn it into a ring or turn it into a coin, but you can't get rid of it. It's impossible. It's indestructible. Plus, everybody likes it. That's why gold can't go out, because it's very limited. But there's demand for it. So this is money. And that's the other thing. You can't go to the grocery store with it. Well, what exactly do these people think you go to the grocery store with? You go with money. And a lot of what do you think an asset is? So I don't get the grocery store mentality. Well, you can't go to the grocery store and you can't eat gold, but I can't eat paper. I'm not eating this for lunch. I'm not going to eat euro for lunch. I can't eat this either, but this has a lot less value than the gold. So I don't know why that's such a hard concept, or why that's the example they throw. But Bobby, as soon as you hear somebody say that, you just shake your head and walk away. You're like, and like you said, I cannot have a conversation with you. And the fact that you don't trust me, then I have a hard time being friends with you and doing anything with you. Because if you're not going to respect my word, if I tell you this, this is happening and you don't believe me, we're not friends. There's no friendship, because you either are calling me a liar or calling me stupid. Either way, why would I want to hang out with you? So this is the problem when you know too much. When everybody's ignorant, you're okay. But when even girls, if you got a girl and she doesn't believe in the gold standard, she wants Bitcoin, I don't want to talk to her. I don't care how pretty she is. You just sit there like, no. I want gold people. Now, Daria gets gold. Jenna, I'm not sure if she did or not. I think she did. But she struggled with understanding it. But mostly the Russians and Germans understand gold because they've been through it. But here in the U.S., everybody's in making money on Bitcoin and stocks, and that's the problem we have. So that's why it's really hard to bring it up. You've got to kind of feel it out, like, well, what's your position on gold? And if they say, oh, I don't believe it, just leave it. Just walk away, change the subject, saying, oh, okay, yeah, that's that, yeah, whatever, and just roll your eyes at them. And you can try to teach them about gold, but I don't know that they'll get it because gold's 2,700. I said yesterday gold's 27,000 in physical, and they laughed. And I said I wouldn't be laughing about that because you keep holding it down with the derivatives. You don't really have a free market in gold. You don't have a fair market in it. So that's what you get with it. So the war, all these wars are, I don't understand them. What the fuck are we doing? Why are we even having a war? Why do you even have wars? What do we want from Russia? And what do we want from the Ukraine? And why are we attacking Russia? What did they do? They didn't do anything. They just didn't want Ukraine joining NATO. Okay, but do you go to war over it? Probably not. You sit down and talk, but we didn't want to sit down and talk. We don't want to end it. Zelensky wanted to end the war way back, and the U.S. and the U.K. said no. And Boris Johnson went there and, no, we can't end the war. Well, what do we got to do with that? We're the U.S. Why do we care about a war between Russia and the Ukraine? Well, really, it's us and Russia. Why do we care? What are we fighting for? All right, we wanted to stop Hitler. We don't want to stop Putin. Putin seems to be like the smartest guy in the room. At least him, you know where you stand. He's been very good about not nuking and not advancing. He just wants his territory back because we took it from the Ukraine. We took Russian cities. He just wants those back. That's really all he's fighting for, and to keep them out of NATO. So keep them out of NATO. What do they got to be in NATO for? And NATO's failing anyway. So keep that in mind. You can see what's happening. The dollar's gone. All the central banks are getting out of it buying gold. You can't just ignore the debt. You can't just inflate it away to zero. And by the way, and another thing I said is prices aren't inflation. It's the dollar. It's the inflating of the supply of money is inflation, not prices, because you can't just raise prices. That's why when you go to the grocery store, you don't see Coke at $30 a bottle. It's still $2.75. It went up. They don't sell a lot, so they didn't raise the price. So you can't use prices as a way to measure inflation. And when you see things on the shelves, like in Venezuela, when you don't see anything on the grocery shelf, it's because the government's doing price controls. And if I can't make, let's say I make castor oil and it costs me $2, and then I get the bottle and I get the label and I sell it. I think this was $6 yesterday. Well, if it costs me, if I have to sell it for $1.50, but it costs me $3, I won't sell it. And that's what the price fixing does. It doesn't allow profit by the companies. That's why the government stays out. That's what the invisible hand's out. Stay out of my fucking way. Get out of my fucking business. Let me produce, and I'm going to sell it for what I can and what the market will bear. It's all about the free market. That's what the economy is. That's what everything is. It's not hard to understand. Should I make a product? Should I sell Canadian Club? Well, what's my cost and what can I sell it for? And if my cost is 30, I can sell for 50, I'll make it. But if you're going to price fix my cost to 10, my price to 10, and it costs me 30, but I can only sell it for 10, I won't make it. So you won't have the product. So you're fucking up the economy and the free market by doing price controls. That is not, it's not price gouging. The market controls the prices. You make steaks $25 a pound and nobody buys them. That's not gouging anyway, but nobody buys them. My rib guy at the boneyard, he wants to sell his slab of ribs for $40. Nobody's going to buy it. So you can't. So the market controls the prices. So you can never have price gouging. If you do price gouge, people won't buy it. The market won't buy it. I got my oil changed at Toyota yesterday. I saw my guys, and he's like sold his Bitcoin. He's in the gold. One of the salesmen I got in the gold. The finance man is in the gold. And basically, that's where they are. And they're into gold. And so I had a talk with the sales manager, and I says, so when you tried to raise the Camry to 35,000, did you sell any? He said, no. I said, that's because you were above market. I said, I bought it for 24,000. That's what I considered a fair trade. I'll give you 24,000 for the car, not 35,000. And so he lowered the price back down. I think it's 26,000, 27,000, because he understood he was over market, because I taught him that. So he's a salesman who doesn't understand, a sales manager who doesn't understand the market. You've got to understand, what will the market pay for it. You can't just raise prices. If you want to, you can do it, but then you won't make sales. So are you in business to sell, or are you in business to have a high price that nobody will do it? And if your costs go up so much that you've got to raise the price, you got to get out of business, because people aren't going to pay for it. So that's what I tell Luke with his tennis rackets, is that, I don't know what they are, $200, and do you sell any? Okay. Did you raise the price to 3? Did you sell any? And if you didn't, then you can't raise your price. So that's why prices aren't inflation. It's the money supply, and it never goes down. Once you print $160 trillion, you've printed 160 trillion. It's not going down. So inflation is not going down, because you've inflated the money supply. That's why all these countries go out and everything. It's not that the prices go up, it's the value of the dollar goes down. And that's what Egon's kind of trying to say. It's not gold going up, it's the value going down, which I agree. It takes more dollars to buy it. So in theory, you print the money, you print it, it becomes worth less. So it takes more dollars to buy the gold. That's the idea. So it's really the dollar. You need more dollars to buy it. However, that there can also be the gold going up because of demand, of everybody wanting gold. That's the other half of it. And that's where we're at. And so to say gold price never goes up, it's just ignorance, of course. The Montana rookie car is 110,000. Price went up. The cost, the price went up due to demand. If it's because of demand, the price certainly can go up, and that's, people are willing to pay more. Again, the dollar being worth less doesn't hurt it, but it's the demand for gold driving the price up. And that's where I get $25,000, 27,000. I just times it by 10. That's what I'm doing. But no, it's going to go up because nobody wants to hold the dollar. And I think that's the scare as people are getting into Bitcoin, because they know the dollar's collapsing, but they think Bitcoin's going to save them, and it won't, because it's priced in dollars. You've got to get, as Egon says, you got to get out of the dollar system. Banks, stocks, bonds, Bitcoin, everything priced in dollars, you got to get out of. And that gives you gold and silver, because it doesn't need to be. It is priced in dollars, but it doesn't need to be. Gold will be its own. It is money, and that's the difference. Sort of like Rolex. I mean, you don't have to get out of Rolex. That's not really. It's priced in dollars to a point, but it will get repriced in gold, and that's the difference. Gold will be the new currency. Will be backed by it. Is it going to happen in the U.S.? I don't know, but it will happen, and is happening in BRICS. That's why they all have the central banks buying the gold, so they can have the gold-backed currency. That's really simple. So we see this war in Russia. Ukraine's in big trouble. They don't have electricity. It's freezing there. Feel sorry for Jenna, but she shouldn't fuck with me. Daria's not facing it in Russia. Obviously, they're the aggressor, and Putin will defend his populace. Zelensky's on the take. He just takes the money. I don't know what he's thinking by invading Russia. What are you, insane? Do you want him to nuke you? I don't want him to nuke Jenna, and I feel bad for her, but I've offered just for her to come here and stay with me, at least till the war is over, and she won't. I got family there. Okay, so don't bitch about the war then, because you had the out and you didn't take it. So I can't help you. And I'm not going to live there with you and get bombed at. No, sorry. Luke is always nervous. He's into Bitcoin. He doesn't understand it. See, Luke's one of these guys that won't listen and understand that you got to be away. Bitcoin is not. You got to be in gold and silver, and that's it. So I don't know what to tell him. Yes, Alligator's probably in cahoots with those guys at the hot tub. Well, exactly. How does he not now? Oh, there won't be a gold-backed currency when he knows that's the only answer. Is Daria ready to meet, Professor? Well, she's ready to meet, but it's the war. So she's unclear of me going there because of the war, and she's unclear of traveling because of the war. Again, they have a different culture, and her friends are warning her don't travel. They probably scare her and say don't travel. So she wants to meet me. I'm not worried about that. It's just we got a little war going on here. So it's when I meet Jenna, it's only because we meet in Italy or we meet in Germany or some other country. But I can't do that with Daria. Jenna's getting out of the war. Daria's not in the war, basically. Russia's not getting bombed. So she's got her daughter to worry about. And then, yeah, I'm not worried that she wants to meet. I'm not worried that she loves me. But she was all excited that Trump won. She thought the war would be ended. We could meet. She says, why isn't he in office? It was like November 6th. And I said, well, he doesn't get in till January. So she was a little fuck, because that would have been nice to meet her for Christmas, but I don't think I will. Not that we don't want to, but the way this war is escalating, I don't know how safe it is to start traveling to Serbia or Turkey or any of these countries. By the way, Coin Store and Chinese tonight? No, I had Chinese yesterday. I got my car. The Toyota dealer's on like 9 and Telegraph, which doesn't mean anything to you, but that's where the place is. I get a free oil change, and Chinese is at 12 and Telegraph, and I'm about 25 minutes away from here, from the Chinese. So when I'm there getting my car done, when I'm done, I go to the Chinese because I only got to go 3 miles up the road. So I got the Chinese yesterday. I do have half. I usually try not to eat the whole thing. I was a little hungry yesterday, but I try not to eat the whole thing at once. So I eat half yesterday and today. And I think a lot of it is between being stoic and the diet and the stay away from the sugar and the carbs. I just am not as hungry because they make you hungry. So I'm just not as hungry. And I'm able to eat half of the chicken and broccoli, and I get an egg roll and then save the other half for today. I still have salmon I cooked Thursday. I have a steak that I need to cook, but I can cook that tomorrow. And that's it. In the Coin Store, no, I'll probably go next week. I get a short check because I only get 3 days. But then the following, so I get paid on Thursday. On Monday, I get the Social Security. And then on Thursday, I get another full check. That's the beauty of getting paid weekly. So I will probably go that weekend and buy it. So I'm not too worried. Silver, I'm not worried. It'll still be $30. Gold might go up a little, but And then what does he have? Hopefully people will sell for Christmas. They need the money, and I'll walk in. He tends to always have some gold there. A couple ounces here, a couple. So I probably will buy another ounce. I replenished my safe, so it's back to the point I wanted at. So now when I get paid, instead of putting money in the safe, it's where I'm at. I'll then take the excess money and at least buy silver or quarter ounce or something gold. But he's not getting a lot of quarter or half ounces in, which is what I like because it's like $700. So I go, I get a quarter ounce of gold, $700. So I have replaced what I gave Jenna. But I do want to buy more gold and certainly more silver. And I will do that. But Chinese I got yesterday, so I still have some left, and I will nuke it here. And that is a great lineup. Yeah. People don't have discipline. They just want instant gratification. Well, and they don't want you to disagree with them. That's the other part I'm noticing, because I say buy gold and the dollar is going to collapse. they don't want to hear it. So they start yelling like babies. Oh, you're wrong. No, 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 I'm not wrong. You are just ignorant and you don't want to hear the truth. Now, one guy came over to me. He wanted it. Oh, yeah. Can you let me know? Tell me what's going on. He wanted it. He'll buy gold. But the other idiot who probably works for Merrill Lynch or something is no, 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 we're fine. The dollar's not going anywhere. How can you be this stupid? And the dollar is gone. It's why do you think all the central banks are buying gold now? Maybe he doesn't know that. So we do our homework, right? We listen to Mark McGuire. Oh, all the central banks are buying gold. Oh, okay. We believe Mark McGuire, so we go with it, and we can see all the central banks buying it. We know Russia, China have. We know Russia's coming out with. So we've done our homework. I understand the dollar's gone, and I understand it from the theory that if you keep printing, it's worthless, and we've got printing, and it's not like started today. It started 50 years ago. So how it lasted 50 years, I don't know, but it's done. You got this idiot Biden trying to bankrupt us by, these weapons cost a lot of money. And then, and what's Trump going to do? If he goes gold back, then we make a fortune. And if he doesn't go gold back, the dollar goes out. And one girl I heard, she said, oh, they'll go to these coins. What are they? Stable coins, which are basically Bitcoins, but they're coins and they're worth, I don't know, they'll keep the price down. I'm going, no, that's not going to work. Cryptocurrency does not have a value. They can't control the value, and who wants stable coins? So, they're going to force you into stable coin. And this girl I don't like, she's, I think, Netherlands or something. And she keeps the doom and gloom, which I don't mind if it's correct, but she doesn't get the concept, so I don't listen to her. There'll never be stable coins. You're never going to get rid of the dollar. You just have to make it gold back. We need gold, which we don't have. But see, that's the thing. So people don't want to be wrong. They don't want to be told they're wrong. Today's Sunday. No, today's Saturday. No, it's Sunday. They don't want to know they're wrong. And like you said, they want instant gratification. That's why they're in Bitcoin. Without knowing that Bitcoin is worthless, they want to be in Bitcoin. Well, look, Bitcoin's up to 90,000. So I had this talk in the dealership also with the Toyota guys. I says, one guy's got Bitcoin. He says, I invested 2,000. It's worth 50. So if it goes to zero, I lose 2,000. I go, no, if it goes to zero, you lose 50,000. That 50,000 is yours right now. It isn't 2,000 anymore. It's 50. If you lose 50, I won't be bothered. Oh, bullshit, you'll be bothered. You lose 50 grand and you just walk away like it's nothing. Or worse, you made 2,000 go to 50 and then you're just going to walk and you'll lose it. And you're just going to say, oh, well, I really lost 2 grand. No. I've been in the casino enough. When you start with $100 and it's 2,000 at poker or at craps or something, no, you lose. You've lost 2 grand. You've lost whatever. You're up to 5 grand, and you go to zero. You lost 5 grand. You didn't lose the 100 you started with or the 500 you started with. You lose the full whatever value. That's the point. It goes to the new value, whatever it's at. So you got to be careful with that. Anyway. So that's really what's going on. So you got this Russian war, there's the missiles, the Ukraine's in big trouble. Why Zelensky keeps going? He's getting paid off by the Americans. Russia's just gonna, I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know if anybody will be left standing in the Ukraine. I don't think he wants to kill them. Plus, there's Russians there. He certainly doesn't want to kill the Russians. So we will see what happens there, but we'll see what Trump comes in. He appoints a Soros guy as the treasury, so we're fucked anyway. So be careful with that. All right, I think I'm going to watch Michigan, Ohio State. Let's keep the score low. We got 48, I believe, or 49. So a nice 20-3 game would be lovely. But yes, you're right, Bobby. And that's what's happening now. See, when I grew up and you grew up, it was a different time. Now, I mean, oh, I don't want Johnny to cry. Oh, you want this toy and that one. You want 50 gallons of ice cream. Oh, yeah, we'll get everything for Johnny. So Johnny doesn't know no, and Johnny doesn't know discipline, and Johnny doesn't get hit and spanked. And therefore, Johnny has no fear and doesn't know how to act because he just, positive reinforcement, and Johnny's fucked up. And that's the problem. So you got to be careful with that. So anyway, at Toyota, they're all in the gold, and he told me about this Oldsmobile guy, Tamaroff Oldsmobile. He says every night he takes whatever profit he got and he turns it into gold. And I call him, well, that's me. I'm Rumpelstiltskin. I turn bullshit paper into gold. So I'm Rumpelstiltskin. But that's what this it's a GM dealership. They just take all their money, buy gold with it, which I don't know where he's getting it from. And then he saves a little bit for expenses, and then the rest goes into gold. See, and so he didn't trust me, but when the guy does it, now he trusts the guy. And I just laugh, going, well, I tried to tell you, get out of Bitcoin. So he was glad to see me. He likes that I teach him. And we'll go from there. But anyway, we'll see what happens. So I'm going to watch the game. I'll be on tomorrow morning. We got the pros tomorrow. Good luck today. Hopefully we kick ass. I got a good feeling. We're on the table. So have a good day. www.teaserking.com. You can still buy the locks. You can still buy there's 2 locks tomorrow. You can buy the pros tomorrow, whatever you want. Go to teaserking.com. All right, everybody. Have a good day. Bobby, take care. And yep, you just stay stoic. It's like just be unemotional. And you quickly understand if the guy says, "Oh, you can't eat gold," you just say, "Well, he's an idiot, and I can't. You're too stupid to talk to," and you just close it out. You don't engage with them. You only engage with people like us who we can have a gold talk or a Bitcoin talk and understand it. Going, yeah, that makes sense. See, we make sense out of it. They don't want to make sense. They just want to say, "Oh, no." So just understand that. All right. Have a good day, everybody. Good luck. www.teaserking.com. Take care.